Okay, let's unpack this. $480 billion. I mean, that's the projection for influencer marketing by 2027.
Wow, that's quite a number.
And here's a kicker. Apparently 60% of consumers actually trust recommendations from these influencers.
60%. Makes you stop and think, doesn't it? But, beyond those perfect posts and glowing endorsements, what's the real story? What's actually going on?
Well, that's exactly the question we're going to dig into today. We're aiming to go deeper than just, the likes and the follower counts.
Mm-hmm.
We've been looking at some pretty interesting research to try and understand the dynamics, the stuff you don't always see in the world of social media influence.
Exactly. So for this deep dive, we're leaning heavily on a new study. It's from the University of Portsmouth, just published in Psychology and Marketing.
Right. And we've also looked at how places like ScienceX and Dejeuner reported on that research. They added some analysis too.
And crucially, to get that human side, we're also bringing in an article from the Times of India. That one really explores the personal struggles that influencers themselves face. Yeah, that's important context. So our mission here is really to give you a fuller picture. First, we'll look at the massive impact influencers have on what we buy, how we think.
Sure.
But just as important, we need to explore let's say, the hidden challenges and the complexities within that whole culture.
Right. Move past the highlight reel.
Exactly. Get to something a bit more, well, nuanced, more real.
Okay, so let's frame the landscape first.
Yeah.
This undeniable power they have. On one hand, you can't deny it. SMIs, social media influencers, they've totally reshaped marketing.
Oh, fundamentally. They're setting trends, guiding what people buy, even shifting social norms in some way.
They really dictate a lot now.
Absolutely. They've changed how brands even think about reaching people. Their influence is baked into strategies now, driving consumer behavior way beyond just selling a product. They shape conversations.
And then there's the other side.
Yeah.
The University of Portsmouth study we mentioned, it really starts to pull back the curtain on some growing worries.
Mm-hmm. Ethical questions, psychological effects, the fact that maybe the rules haven't caught up.
It's clearly not all just glossy photos and easy money, is it?
No, definitely not. And what's really interesting is how they even get that influence in the first place. It's different from old school celebrities, right? They didn't come up through Hollywood or the music biz.
Right.
They build their name, their authority directly on these social platforms. It's all about their personal brand, how they engage. That's where the power comes from.
Okay, so that brings us to the core of the Portsmouth study, these 6 sort of key negative themes they found. Let's get into those.
Yeah.
Starting with one that feels pretty worrying, promoting harmful products.
Yeah, this is a big one. The research flagged lots of cases where influencers are pushing things with, well, potentially bad health effects. Think diet pills, detox teas.
Even alcohol sometimes.
Right, and often there's not enough info given about the risks, or side effects.
And the study really points out how younger audiences are particularly susceptible here. You can see how someone you feel like, online promoting a quick fix, it could seem really convincing.
Totally, especially if they don't mention the potential downsides. And that lack of full disclosure is a major issue. When it's not clear it's an ad or the risks aren't mentioned, how can people, especially younger folks, make a good decision? It just blurs the lines, doesn't it?
Yeah, recommendation versus paid ad. It gets murky.
Very.
Okay, next negative theme, spreading misinformation. This feels incredibly relevant right now.
Oh, absolutely. The study showed how influencers, even without any real expertise, can end up spreading wrong or misleading information.
On all sorts of topics, right?
Yeah.
Health, politics.
Legit health claims with no backing, biased political stuff, weird takes on social issues, all sorts of things.
It's scary when you think about the reach. Someone with millions of followers can amplify something, true or not, just because people trust them.
That's precisely the danger, that trust they've built up, sometimes over years. It can be misused, intentionally or not, to push bad info.
And maybe people are less likely to question it because they feel like the influencer is kind of like a friend, not some distant authority.
Exactly. That relatability factor makes the information seem more trustworthy, even when it shouldn't be.
Okay, the third theme hits close to home for anyone on social media, I think. Reinforcing unrealistic beauty standards. We all see those perfect filtered images constantly.
No, constantly. And the research connects that exposure to, well, feeling bad about your own body, lower self-esteem. It can even push people towards unhealthy or harmful beauty practices, trying to match those unrealistic ideals they see online.
It's like chasing an illusion, isn't it? What you see is so often tweaked and polished, but it still makes you feel inadequate somehow.
Yeah, it has a real tangible negative effect on mental well-being. And that ties right into the fourth theme they identified, fostering a comparison culture.
Ah, yes, the constant measuring up.
When you're scrolling through endless perfect-looking lives, perfect bodies, perfect holidays, it's almost impossible not to compare your own reality.
And that comparison often ends up making you feel envious or anxious, like the study said. You're seeing everyone else's highlight reel against your own sort of behind-the-scenes footage.
That's a great way to put it. And this constant comparison, it just grinds you down, leads to feeling bad about yourself, less happy overall, even if your life is actually pretty good.
Okay, theme number 5 is about deceptive consumption practices. This sounds like influencers not playing fair.
Pretty much. The study found examples of unethical stuff like, well, not telling you when a post is sponsored.
Ah, the hidden hashtag ad problem.
Exactly. Or promoting fake goods, or just using misleading ads. Stuff that really breaks the trust people have placed in them.
That feels like a real betrayal, doesn't it? If you think you're getting a genuine tip from someone you follow, but really it was just about the money and they didn't tell you.
Precisely. Transparency is just fundamental. If that goes, it damages not just the influencer and the consumer, but the whole industry's reputation.
Okay, and the final negative theme from Portsmouth, privacy concerns. Something we're all thinking more about these days.
The study points out just how much data gets collected and shared in this whole influencer world.
For the influencers themselves and their followers.
Both, yeah. It raises security risks, regulatory questions. Followers might have their data gathered and used in ways they never fully realized or agreed to. Influencers often use tools, analytics that track follower demographics, what they click on.
And that data can be used for targeted ads.
Or shared with brands, yeah. Sometimes without people really being aware of the extent of it.
Okay, so that paints a pretty challenging picture of some of the downsides. But we need to remember these are real people behind the accounts. And that Times of India article, it really brings their side into focus. It's clearly not all glamorous for them either.
Not at all. The article highlights the heavy psychological toll it can take. The constant judgment, the pressure from audiences, from brands, the need to always be creating content. It leads to burnout, serious anxiety.
Yeah, the article had those specific examples from India. Ashna Shroff talking about anxiety, feeling like she'd disappear if she stopped posting constantly. That's intense pressure.
It really is. This fear of becoming irrelevant, it's huge in that fast-moving world. You always have to be on, visible, engaging. It must be exhausting.
And Rohan Mehta, sharing his depression, the pressure to always be the funny guy, he said, I'm human too. But the online persona doesn't always allow for that.
Right. It shows that disconnect between the curated online self and the actual person. And the article mentioned this culture of validation, too.
Where your self-worth gets tied up in likes and comments.
Exactly. Your value feels like it depends on those engagement numbers. So a bad post or a dip in likes feels like a personal failure. That's a really precarious way to live.
And this pressure, this carefully crafted image, it doesn't just affect the influencers. The Times article also talked about the impact on their followers.
Yes, definitely. It sets up these unrealistic expectations, especially for young people, teenagers. Seeing these seemingly perfect lives makes your own life feel lacking.
And it's not just feelings. The article cited a 2024 NIMH study saying young people on social media for over 3 hours a day were twice as likely to show symptoms of depression and anxiety.
Yeah, that link is becoming clearer in research.
The article had that story, Riya Sharma, the student in Mumbai, feeling bad about her body because of fitness influencers.
Right, until she realized about the photo editing, the professional help they get. That understanding that what you see isn't the full picture is so vital.
It really is critical thinking about what we consume online.
So given all this, what are the ways forward? The Portsmouth study did offer some ideas for policymakers and brands.
Yeah, they talked about needing more transparency, stronger ethical rules. Brands need to make sure influencers are clear when something's sponsored.
Absolutely. Clear disclosure is key for trust. And they also pushed for better regulation generally, to protect consumers from dodgy practices and misinformation.
And it wasn't just about the money side. They also emphasized mental health awareness, pushing for more authentic content that actually supports well-being instead of just perfection.
That move towards authenticity feels really important. And finally, they mentioned needing stronger data privacy protections, safeguarding everyone involved.
And the Times of India piece also showed some positive shifts, right? Things coming from within the influencer community.
Yeah, like the unfiltered content movement, some influencers deliberately showing the less perfect side of life to kind of break that illusion,
That's interesting.
and influencers taking mental health breaks, being open about it, like Dolly Singh was mentioned, stepping back from the pressure cooker.
It's good to see platforms adding features too, like nudges to take a break. And that push for more digital well-being education, teaching people how to navigate all this more healthily.
Yeah, it feels like we all need a more mindful approach. Whether you're creating the content or consuming it, just remembering that social media is often, the highlight reel, not the whole story.
Right. Embrace a bit more reality, maybe.
Something like that. Authenticity.
So, wrapping this up, it seems pretty clear. Social media influencers have huge influence, real power, but it comes with this whole package of ethical issues, psychological strains, regulatory gaps,
Yeah, challenges that affect both the influencers themselves and everyone following them.
which leaves us, and you, our listener, with a pretty big question to mull over, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
In this world that's so shaped by these online personalities, how do we get better at looking critically? How do we build a healthier relationship with it all?
Mm-hmm. And what's the responsibility here? For us as individuals, for the platforms, for regulators, how do we make this digital space work better, feel more balanced? That's definitely something worth thinking about.